Look at your life right now, not next year, not someday, right now, because 2026 is coming whether you're ready or not. And here's the truth most people avoid. The future doesn't reward hope, it rewards decisions. Most people don't fail because they're lazy. They fail because they never decide who they're becoming. If you keep doing what you've been doing, you'll keep getting what you've been getting. So let me ask you something. What if 2026 wasn't just another year? What if it became the year everything finally shifted? Not by luck, not by wishing, but by alignment. Today I'm giving you 3 secrets. Not theory, not fluff, but principles that work whether you believe in them or not. If you apply them, your life will change. If you don't, nothing will. Let's begin. Secret number 1. Your future identity controls your present results. Here's the mistake most people make. They try to change their life without changing who they are. That never works. Your results are not random. They're a reflection of your identity. Your habits follow your identity. Your standards follow your identity. Your decisions follow your identity. So if you want a new future, you need a new version of you, not someday. Now, most people visualize outcomes. More money, better health, better relationships. High performers do something different. They visualize standards. What do I tolerate? What do I refuse? What do I do even when I don't feel like it? Here's the shift. Stop asking, what do I want in 2026? Start asking, who must I become so that this future is inevitable? Because when identity changes, behavior tends to follow automatically. Let me hit you with this. Your future self is already watching you. Every decision you make today is either earning their respect or reinforcing regret. And here's the emotional truth. You don't rise to your goals, you fall to your standards, so raise them. Decide what the 2026 version of you no longer negotiates with. No more negotiating with procrastination. No more negotiating with excuses. No more negotiating with fear. Make it non-negotiable. Because the moment you decide who you are, life reorganizes around that decision. This is not motivation. This is identity engineering. And once identity locks in, momentum becomes automatic. That's the secret number 2. Emotion is the engine, not logic. Let me tell you something most people don't understand. You don't take action based on logic. You take action based on emotion. You already know what to do. But knowledge doesn't move people. Emotion does. That's why some people succeed with less talent, fewer resources, less education. They have emotional certainty. And certainty is power. Here's the problem. Most people wait to feel motivated. They wait to feel confident. They wait to feel ready. Confidence is not a requirement for action. It is the result of action. Emotion can be trained, just like muscles, just like focus, just like discipline. If you can't control your emotional state, you can't control your future. So here's the shift. Stop asking, how do I feel today? Start asking, what emotional state does my future require? Energy beats intelligence every time. When you feel certain, your brain finds solutions. When you feel powerful, you see opportunities. When you feel grateful in advance, you move differently. This is where manifestation actually happens. Not in thinking. In feeling before the evidence appears. Gratitude before results. Certainty before proof. Commitment before clarity. Here's the emotional peak. When your emotions change, your identity strengthens. When identity strengthens, your behavior becomes unstoppable. So choose one state. 1. Certainty, courage, focused calm. Practice activating it daily, on demand, because the future belongs to those who are emotionally trained. Secret number 3. Pressure creates the next version of you. Here's the hard truth. Comfort is killing your potential, not instantly, slowly. The life you want requires pressure, deadlines, challenges, commitments that scare you. Growth does not come from waiting. It comes from movement. Most people wait for clarity, but clarity comes from action, not the other way around. Momentum creates belief. Belief creates confidence. Confidence creates results. So stop protecting your comfort. Protect your future. Here's a rule that changes everything. If your goals don't create discomfort, they won't create transformation. The version of you in 2026 will thank you for the pressure you applied today. Public commitment, tight timelines, doing things before you feel ready. This is how identity is forged. And listen carefully. Failure is not the opposite of success. Stagnation is. If you're failing, you're moving. If you're moving, you're learning. If you're learning, you're winning. The only real failure is refusing to act. So take the step you've been avoiding. How to turn insight into a new life. Now pause for a moment, not to think, not to analyze, but to feel what you already know. Because insight alone does not change lives. Integration does. You've just heard 3 powerful truths about identity, emotion, and pressure. But their real power doesn't come from understanding them individually. It comes from applying them together. Most people treat growth like a checklist. They work on the mindset for 1 month. Motivation is the next. Discipline when things fall apart. That approach creates temporary change. Lasting change happens when identity, emotion, and action move in the same direction. When who you believe you are, how you feel daily, and what you do under pressure all align. That's when life accelerates. Let's bring these secrets together. The real reason most people don't change. Here's the uncomfortable truth. People don't stay stuck because they lack information. They stay stuck because their current identity feels familiar, even if it hurts, even if it frustrates them, even if it limits them. Familiar pain feels safer than unfamiliar growth. That's why identity is always the starting point. If you see yourself as someone who tries, you'll always stop when things get uncomfortable. If you see yourself as someone who finishes, you'll push through resistance even on bad days. Your self-image quietly decides how much effort you'll give, how much discomfort you'll tolerate, and how long you'll persist before quitting. And here's the key. You don't need proof to change your identity. You need a decision. Identity is not something you discover. It's something you declare and then reinforce. Every small action becomes a vote. Every time you act in alignment with your future self, that identity gains strength. Every time you hesitate, the old identity tightens its grip. This is why consistency matters more than intensity. Small aligned actions repeated daily rewrite who you believe you are. WHY, emotion locks the identity in place, identity sets direction. Emotion provides fuel. Without emotional control, identity collapses under stress. Think about it. Most people don't quit when things are easy. They quit when they feel overwhelmed, uncertain, or discouraged. Emotion is the gatekeeper. If fear dominates, action shuts down. If certainty dominates, effort expands. This is why emotional training is not optional. High performers don't feel confident all the time. They know how to return to a powerful state quickly. They don't wait to feel ready. They create readiness through movement. And this matters because emotion shapes perception. When you're in a weak emotional state, problems look bigger. Options look smaller. Time feels scarce. When you're in a strong emotional state, the same situation feels manageable. Nothing outside changed. Only your internal state did. This is why gratitude, certainty, and focus are not nice ideas. They are performance tools. When you practice emotional regulation daily, you stop being at the mercy of circumstances. You become responsive instead of reactive. And that changes everything. Pressures is where identity and emotion are tested. Anyone can feel motivated when life is easy. Pressure reveals the truth. Pressure exposes who you really are, what you really value, whether your standards are real or imagined. This is why pressure is not the enemy. It's the proving ground. Without pressure, identity remains theoretical. Without pressure, emotional control stays untested. When deadlines approach, priorities emerge. When challenges appear, excuses disappear or multiply. And here's the choice. You can let pressure break you, or you can let it build you. The difference is preparation. When you choose pressure intentionally, public commitments, ambitious timelines, uncomfortable actions, you control the environment instead of reacting to it. You stop waiting for life to force change. You become the force. This is how growth compounds. How these 3 secrets work together. Let's connect the dots. Identity decides the standard. Emotion determines consistency. Pressure creates acceleration. Miss one, and progress slows. If you have an identity without emotional control, you'll quit when things feel heavy. If you have emotion without pressure, you'll feel inspired but stagnant. If you have pressure without identity, you'll burn out or rebel. But when all 3 align, momentum becomes inevitable. You don't rely on willpower. You rely on structure. You don't wait for motivation. You don't hope things change. You engineer change. This is not about perfection. It's about direction. The daily practice that makes 2026 different transformation doesn't require dramatic overhauls. It requires daily alignment. Here's what that looks like in practice. Each morning, ask, who am I choosing to be today? What emotional state will I lead with? What uncomfortable action will move me forward? That's it. Not 10 goals, not endless planning. One identity decision, one emotional commitment, one courageous action. Do this consistently, and something powerful happens. Your self-trust grows, and self-trust is the foundation of confidence. When you trust yourself to follow through, fear loses power. Doubt fades. Momentum takes over. WHY 2026 can't be built later. There's a lie people tell themselves. I'll start when things calm down. I'll commit when I feel more confident. I'll change when I have more time. That moment rarely comes. Life doesn't slow down for clarity. Clarity comes from engagement. The version of you in 2026 is being shaped right now, not by big moments, by daily choices. Every time you avoid discomfort, you reinforce the old identity. Every time you act in alignment, you strengthen the new one. This is why waiting is expensive. It costs time. It costs belief. It costs momentum. The final shift, ownership, at the core of these three secrets is one unshakable principle. Ownership, not blame, not guilt, not pressure from others. Ownership of who are you becoming, how you manage your emotional state, how you respond to a challenge. When you take ownership, excuses disappear. When excuses disappear, power returns. And when power returns, life changes quickly. You stop asking for permission. You stop negotiating with fear. You stop settling for familiar limitations. A final question to carry with you as you move forward. Keep this question close. When the moment arrives, the moment to act, the moment to avoid, the moment to delay, ask yourself, what would my 2026 self do right now? Then do that. Not perfectly, not fearlessly, but decisively. Because the future you want is built by the decisions you make before you feel ready. The moment of truth, now it's your turn. You've heard the secrets. Identity before outcomes, emotion before logic, pressure before progress. The question is simple. Will 2026 be different or will it be familiar? Because nothing changes until you decide. Decide who you are. Decide how you feel. Decide what you do under pressure. Your dream life is not waiting for time, it's waiting for commitment. Make the decision and step into it. Now, thank you for listening, and don't forget to like and subscribe.